Hello everyone, Ryan here with Product Impressions. A couple of weeks ago, I took a look at the new X1 smartwatch from a company called Blackview out of Hong Kong. I kind of liked it. It's a nice little smartwatch. I've also recently had a tablet die, and so I figured I would replace that with the new offering known as the Tab 8 from Blackview as well. Same kind of minimalist white packaging as the smartwatch, so the specs on this looked reasonable, particularly considering the $189 price point, which also included a tablet, a keyboard accessory that attaches to it. It was with 150 without the keyboard, 180 with the keyboard, so why not? As long as I'm getting something shipped from Hong Kong, why not get the keyboard as well? So let's pop this open, see what we get. All right, here we have the box for the Blackview Tab 8 tablet. Let's flip it over and we can see it is running Android 10, so that is the most up-to-date software as of right now. 10.1-inch screen, full high def, a respectable sized battery, front and rear cameras, 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. So very reasonable specs for about $190, I believe, with the keyboard there. It does say 4G on here, but that is not for the US market. So I have no intention of using this with any cell phone service or anything like that. Let's go ahead and pop this open. It comes with a faux leather case. And yeah, so there's the back of it. A slightly goldish color to the gray, but overall very nice. A little brown, but still kind of nice looking. And it looks like we can, yeah. So you can see the camera up there, bezels around the sides. Not very large bezels though, so that's nice. We can also pop it out of the case. Come on. There we go. And so we can see we've got, looks like a volume rocker and power button there. Type-C for charging. SIM card slot. Ooh, whole thing popped out of the case there. Hopefully that wasn't anything bad. Alright, and camera module in the back. And otherwise, we also have paperwork, SIM tool, a charger. It looks like they sent me the European one, even though I asked for an American, but at least I have other chargers that should work with this just fine. I mean, it's just a Type-C connection, and it also has headphones. The other thing that came with it, as I mentioned earlier, was the keyboard to go along with it. This has a very nice soft feel to it, and looks like a very nice keyboard. Feels pretty nice. We're going to have to connect it and see how it works, but physical connection to the tablet, which is nice. You don't have to worry about having a separate battery in here or anything. Alright, let's get it set up, see how it works. Alright, I've been using this tablet for a couple of weeks now, and I must say it is pretty good for the price. Battery life, I get 2 or 3 days of fairly light use between charges. If you're using this a lot, you're probably just maybe going to get through 1 day. But if this is just a secondary device, you know, something to have on the couch while you're watching TV or something like that, yeah, it works pretty well. The display itself, there is a bit of a blue tint to it, just a little bit, and that is with me putting the settings to being as warm as possible, and there's still kind of a bluish tint over everything. Responsiveness-wise, it's reasonable. It's nothing amazing. Let's pop open Chrome and you can see my recommended stories here. It goes reasonably well. There's a little bit of blurring when you're, scrolling quickly or anything, but again, serviceable. It's the refresh rate seems to be reasonable. There are a couple of things that I noticed about the device itself as I used it more. I know in the initial unboxing I didn't mention a headphone jack, but there is one. Let's see. Power button and volumes are across the top here. You can kind of see the change in color in the plastic cover. Around the side there, hey, there we go. There's their headphone jack. So there is a headphone jack on here. I know I also mentioned it seeming kind of brownish, where it's supposed to be gray, but that is also because of the coloration of the case that it came with. If I take it out of the case, there we go. You can see that it actually is a nice gray silver tone color on there. So again, my bad. Seems to work perfectly fine. I haven't really used the keyboard case all that much yet because I've discovered that it is not great to just leave it in the case. I will show you why in just a moment, but overall, this does seem like a reasonable quality case. It's a little bit, well, quite plasticky, but again, this is a $180 tablet coming with a case. So let me go ahead and slide this in here. It just kind of snaps in. This case does have more of an edge around the side of it. You can kind of see that. But the plastic portion really just kind of clips onto the corners, so it's not being held as securely as this, faux leather cover that it came with. But one nice thing to observe with that is the back of the case does have a stand with a fairly stiff hinge on here, so you don't have to worry about it kind of falling out of place. You can rest it however you would like, adjust this to whatever whatever angle you want, and it seems perfectly fine. This also does have a face unlock feature, so you don't have to worry about typing in a PIN number every time, assuming that you actually use any of these locking mechanisms on your devices. I usually do. So now, one thing that I do want to show, and it's a good demonstration as to why I don't really use the keyboard case on a regular basis. You can see you can type just like normal. Let me go ahead and erase all of that gibberish so that it's easier to see. I'm going to go ahead and fold back the keyboard. I inadvertently hit something on it, so it has locked itself again. There we go. Now you can see I'm kind of holding this in a tablet mode, and I'm typing on the keyboard on the back of the device. Not exactly what you want to do, so if you are using this case, you cannot just fold it back and use it as a tablet. The built-in keyboard is not going to show up, and yeah, you will constantly be inadvertently hitting things. And there I did it again. I hit one of the function keys and locked it. So that's why I haven't really used the keyboard case all that much. Whenever the world returns back to normal, this will be a very light, thin, simple thing that I might be able to take if I go to work somewhere remotely, or sometimes I host trivia events. If we ever get back to a normal world, this will be a good device for that. So overall, I would say that this is I should also specify the speakers on this have essentially no bass. You are getting all treble, fairly tinny. So unless you're going to be using some headphones, either plugging into the headphone jack or Bluetooth headphones, I wouldn't think of this as being a great media consumption device. So I would say probably the ideal situation for this is a secondary productivity device, kind of a backup for a computer or something like that. If you can work cross-platforms between PC, Mac, and Android, this can be a reasonable secondary device. Otherwise, yeah, for $180, it's not bad. Pretty much every aspect of this, I will just say, is not bad. It's reasonable. It's serviceable. The screen is not nearly as sharp as my girlfriend's Samsung tablet. And just, as an example of that, let me see if I can actually get this to pick up. You can see a bit of pixelation. No, the camera's not really focusing on it. You can see a bit of pixelation in the icons themselves. I don't really notice much of an issue when I'm working in a Word document or something as I opened up. But yeah, again, if you're looking really closely, you can see that there's some pixelation, but being held at a reasonable distance from yourself, it kind of fades away. And when you're actually watching a video or typing or anything like that, it's not bad. You don't really notice it that much. But overall, everything that I can say about this is it's an okay device. You're not paying the same kind of price as for most of the higher end Samsung tablets, or I think even their cheaper ones are going to be $250 to $300, somewhere in that range. But, this is way less expensive. As you can tell, it automatically wakes up when you wave it around. If you pick it up, it'll automatically show your notifications and all of that. And there is a face unlock, so you can pick it up, look at it, and it'll unlock it. Yeah, everything is reasonable, nice, very mid-range. The price for a tablet, $180. It's one of the least expensive tablets that you're going to find that's not targeted at children or completely roped into Amazon's ecosystem or anything like that. But overall, as I've been saying, reasonable. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try my best to answer what I can when I notice them. In any case, hopefully this has been of some help to you. Like, share, subscribe, usual YouTube stuff. I'll see you next time.